Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and you're here for another episode of The Burning Truth. And of course, we couldn't do it without a man whose promos are so entertaining, we don't even need to worry about his match quality. It's Matt Burns, everybody!
Yeah, you always have to get a Disney reference in.
How are you, Matt? You okay?
I'm good. A bit tired.
Bit tired,
A bit tired.
Big ring job last night.
Yep.
Ring job, for anyone listening.
Wrestling ring. Just to point that out.
Yeah. Where were you?
I was at Perth Civic Centre.
Oh, right, yeah.
For Top Turnbuckle Wrestling.
Oh, yeah, and how was that? Good night?
Very good night. Good event. And I will say, packed house. I believe, well, once again, although at one point I did have to have me hearing checked.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
What was the main?
Main event, I Quit match.
All right, who was in it?
I believe it was Alex Connors,
yeah, the
leader of the Light of Temple,
right,
versus Mickey Rowley.
Oh, right.
And to say personal, this was, Alex Connors been ducking and dodging, and even had manipulated Mickey's wife.
Oh, wow, okay.
And tried to bring in the family involvement,
okay.
The children.
So it was really personal.
So it was a personal back and forth, and even I've got to say, I've been through an Arcot match myself, and even I was cringing more. I was cringing more over that one than my own.
Yeah, from what you were telling me before we clicked record, that whisper in the wind onto a chair,
onto 4 chairs,
or open chairs.
Yep.
Wowzer. Well done to those guys. Well done to anybody who was on the show last night. If you went to see it, great. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought. And bit of a free shout out for you there, guys. Bit of free advertising. Enjoy it.
Definitely.
But, Matt Burns.
Yeah.
Last week, we left on a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't we?
That we did.
Right. We said that this week you were going to rebook the classic, not even the classic, this year's Sting's AEW retirement. Are you ready for that later in the show?
Let me just pause for it. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that later in the show. Matt Burns will be rebooking Sting's AEW retirement. And also, Matt Burns, what we also said is that we were going to save it for this week. So right now, live and in living colour on audio podcast, I want you to give me your top 3 wrestling entrance themes, because we've been waiting all week.
All week? All right, of course. Well, the weird thing about it is, I've only got my number 1.
Okay.
But I'm not going to...
No, let's have 3, 2, 1. We've talked about this.
But, we've talked about it. We already know it. For me, number 3, it's a classic. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
The Glass Shatter.
I can hear it. Yeah, I'm with
it. Now, a few people who know me might instantly assume that I might go down to the Disturbed version.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm not.
Big metal fan, aren't you, Matt Burns?
I am. But I'm going to go with the classic one.
The classic Steve Austin.
Yeah. It's simple.
The one that he used for the majority of his career.
Yeah. It's simple. It's clean.
Yeah.
Gets the job done.
Yeah.
Second, it even shares a name with a podcast. I wonder what it is.
Go on.
It's My World!
That was on my list as well. I absolutely love Jeff Jarrett. Go on.
Definitely.
So My World by Jeff Jarrett.
Definitely, because it's for me, whenever I hear My World, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
And of course, number 1, we share in common Undertaker,
yeah.
It's absolutely. That gong. It's just... Doom.
So there you go, guys. That's actually both of us now. So it's legit. It's out there in the ether. We're right and you're wrong. The greatest entrance theme of all time is The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we got that sorted. What have you been up to this week, Matt Burns, other than doing your wrestling ring job?
Doing the wrestling ring job, keeping myself busy, preparing certain things, and preparing for future matches I've got coming up.
Oh, brilliant!
So you've got
a couple of matches coming up.
Yeah, we have. Well, I have definitely. Well, we've actually got. I believe both of them might even have 2 at the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken. One for United Wrestling and one for UKWA.
Fantastic. Yeah, both promotions in and around the Staffordshire and Cheshire area. United Wrestling based in Stoke-on-Trent, and UKWA, which you can catch currently in Crewe. which is absolutely a centre of the UK. You can get to anywhere from Crewe, and you can get to Crewe from anywhere. So keep an eye on our socials for details on both United Wrestling and UKWA. Also, you just mentioned that Matt Burns is currently doing wrestling ring jobs. If you've got any inquiries regarding wrestling ring jobs, please contact us at info@theburningtruthuk.com.
Or, if necessary, you can even do it through the actual website of the UK Wrestling Alliance as well.
There you go. I think, Matt Burns, it's probably time to go to
the news!
So just sit tight, don't blow a fuse, because now it's time for this week's news.
This just in, yet we are now on the news!
The news, yeah. Yeah, baby, it's the news. What's going on this week, Matt Burns?
Well, this week we've got to talk about the legendary British wrestler, Kendo Nagasaki.
Yeah, so we left you last week with Kendo Nagasaki. It was news just in, actually, and we didn't have enough detail, so we went and did a bit of research, and we can come back to you today. So, Kendo Nagasaki, he will be wrestling. He's returning to the ring in a 6-man tag for LDN Wrestling in Croydon on the 24th of November. So that's the detail around that.
Yep.
Another cheap plug for that, but I think anybody that can go down and see Kendo absolutely could potentially be once in a lifetime now to see Kendo Nagasaki.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got if you've not seen him before, do it, because I will say he is, regardless of someone might have already seen his face and everything, the man still has that aura.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an absolutely event. It's an absolute event to go and see him. You know, the guy's presence, his aura, he's incredible. I would go as far to say he's British wrestling's Undertaker.
Yeah, I go as far as that. But I believe at the same time, while he's also preparing for his wrestling, to also get himself a set mindset as well, the mansion that he's actually got, he's actually put it up for sale as well.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, which is interesting, because at the same time, because I will say Kendo Nagasaki, it does a lot for charity and everything. So whatever that goes towards, that could end up being towards training or towards any charitable, good charity.
Good times, yeah, absolutely. Next piece of news we've got this week is the Motor City Machine Guns to debut on this week's SmackDown. So we're finally going to get the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, that I am looking forward to.
Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin. Feels like a long time coming, right? They should have been in WWE years ago, it feels like.
One of them did sort of peek in briefly.
Yeah.
Just for a bit of a short stint. But then sort of just went straight back onto the independents, just for now.
Yeah, and I think, WWE need tag teams if they're going to focus on the tag team division. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Bringing these sort of teams in. We talked about the Lucha Bros from AEW that's contractually tied up currently.
Yes.
But we have got the Motor City Machine Guns debuting this week. And you've got to think about the other tag teams on SmackDown. So we've got DIY, we've got Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins.
A-Town Down Under.
A-Town Down Under. We've got the Bloodline. So and we've got the Good Brothers knocking about somewhere as well. So we've got loads and loads of tag team talent on SmackDown currently, which is great for the industry.
Yeah.
We've also got the Viking Raiders coming back to Raw soon, right?
Yeah.
So there's loads of good tag teams knocking about, and we love tag team wrestling on The Burning Truth. Prove us wrong. Last piece of news this week, Matt Burns. I think you want to take this one.
Right, which is with the... It's going to be a little bit of a spoiler towards the WrestleDream, but the only reason why I have it included here is because we don't normally talk about the pre-show.
We don't talk about the pre-show, but go on then, Matt Burns. What happened on the pre-show?
But we've got to talk about a little bit about the pre-show, because what's going on? MXM? Where did this surprise come from? Bringing somebody,
the legend,
bringing somebody from Daddy Ass's past, of course, which is none other than Rico. Absolutely love Rico. Amazing that Rico was back. The guy's got to be about 100 years old by now, right? And yeah, if you looked at him, he still looks the part. He still looks the part. He still looks great. He looks like he's enthusiastic and prepared for more.
Absolutely. And he managed MXM and Daddy Ass managed the
Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed, correct, yeah. And on the pre-show.
Yeah, but what was so clever was their interaction between each other. And you can see Billy Gunn just go, really? So he just goes, what you do with them?
All we need now is a Chuck Palumbo return and we're made. I don't think it'll happen though.
I don't think it'll happen, but if that does happen, I'm gonna have to turn into a certain cartoon character.
Yeah.
You know exactly which one I'm on about.
Yeah.
Philip J. Fry. Here, take my money.
Yeah, I think that actually it's a great callback having Rico and Billy going on the same segments, the same match, but it just harkens back to what is probably one of the greatest segments in the history of wrestling. Certainly the best comedic segment in the history of wrestling, which is the Billy and Chuck wedding. We talked about it on one of the first episodes I did on the podcast.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
But that Eric Bischoff reveal, 3-minute warning. You got to think about the star power in that segment alone. So Billy and Chuck, Rico, Eric Bischoff, but then also Rosie and Jamal. Obviously, Rosie was Roman Reigns' brother.
Yep.
And Jamal became Umaga.
Yep.
Who obviously another member of the Anoa'i family. You know, wrestling royalty. So. Unreal. And the fact that we got Rico back, you know, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the fact that it harks back to that segment, even better.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about this week's wrestling?
Yes.
And shall we start with WWE this week?
The floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Right, we'll start with WWE then. So let's start with Monday Night Raw. We had CM Punk opening the show. He kicked off the show addressing his brutal Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood, which, let's be fair, I've had time to digest it now. Hopefully you have too. I think it might be the best Hell in a Cell match ever.
Now, most people will consider this saying, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. The difference is, you don't need to always go on to the top. For me, it's going to be tough, but I will say it's between two.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it might be the best cage match I've ever seen, not even Hell in a Cell match. It might be the best cage match for me. Honestly, I thought it was amazing. So he expressed a bit of uncertainty about his future, CM Punk. He thanked both the fans and the haters for motivating him, and then Punk hinted at taking a bit of time off. The crowd was left a bit unsure of when they'll see him again. Then Seth Rollins' music interrupted. They had a bit of a face-to-face, which teased a future confrontation. I think every man and his dog wants Seth Rollins, CM Punk at WrestleMania. I certainly do. I want that to main event night one. That's what I want to see. But then Seth Rollins obviously to the ring to call out Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely the right thing. We then got Jey Uso defending his Intercontinental Championship against Xavier Woods in a match which Jey Uso won. It was a competitive match, and after the match, Bron Breakker attacked both Uso and Woods, which established himself as a threat again. And it was interesting because last week he was showing sort of respect to Jey Uso, and this week it was like, no, I'm definitely a heel.
Yeah,
because we talked about this last week, and we said it's a great for Bron Breakker to be a babyface. But you know what? I've flip flopped now, and I think it's great that he's going to be a heel.
It's how they want it. That's the point. That was the great thing about it is they actually had everyone thinking, oh, so they're going in a different direction. Nope, swear.
Absolutely. We then got Sheamus defeating Pete Dunne in a good old fashioned Donnybrook match. The finish to this was quite unique, with being zip tied, but Sheamus landed a pair of brogue kicks and then fell on top of Pete Dunne for the victory. Absolutely great match this was. You know, it was just if you like to see two blokes beat the absolute crap out of each other, it was a good one to watch. Sheamus, you know, gives you constant banger after banger after banger. So.
Pretty much. He's almost like if you're ever in the UK, almost like a tin of Ronseal. Does exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had Pure Fusion Collective, worst stable name ever, and they tagged it with the Unholy Union. Again, terrible tag team name. That was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Pure Fusion Collective, in case you didn't know, is Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and the other one. Help me out here.
Zoe Stark,
that's her. And they wrestled the team of Natalya, Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Zelina Vega, and Lyra Valkyria. So a chaotic 10-woman tag team match. The babyfaces got the victory. It was fast-paced bout, but it was a filler match, and it wasn't quite harking back to the days of Give Divas a Chance, but you could definitely see the difference in the amount of airtime that Raw's got, because the matches were shorter this week, and this match was a match that really did not benefit from that. It was cut quite short. There was a commercial break halfway through, and it was disappointing for all involved. You know, all I can say at this point is Raw is not normally a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
there is going to be some getting used to it over the next few weeks, and I just hope that these aren't the ladies that get sort of the bum end of the deal every week, because Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. You know, when we talk about women's wrestling on Raw, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley get quite a lot of airtime. Raquel Rodriguez as well now. These maybe 10 aren't getting as much time, and I'm just hoping that doesn't become a trend.
What I thought was interesting, though, and I felt sorry for it, because one thing I will say, I did notice that you probably won't be covering this week, was Rhea on Raw this week?
No, but she was on SmackDown, wasn't she?
No, I believe... No, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, is because, did you know there was an actual couple who put off their honeymoon just to see Rhea Ripley?
And she wasn't there. I mean,
ouch!
Card subject to change, right? Then the main event, we got Gunther defeating Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. Another great match. Not as good as the WrestleMania Intercontinental title match, but still a very solid match.
Yeah.
With Sami. After the match, Cody Rhodes stared down Gunther, obviously teasing that match at Crown Jewel, which will be champion versus champion for the Crown Jewel Championship, which there was confirmation of this week, is that those championships will not be defended. They will stay sort of in Saudi Arabia. They'll be almost like the Greatest Royal Rumble Championship. So they're just championships over there. They're not like extra championships. We're not talking about an AEW situation where everyone's a champion. And then if we move over to SmackDown, we've got opening the show with LA Knight defending the United States Championship against Carmelo Hayes. So this week we had the Intercontinental, the World, and the United States Championships all on the line. So really good week, strong week for championship matches on the two shows. LA Knight successfully defended the championship against Carmelo. Hard fought match. Hayes' efforts and mind games from Andrade at ringside, who got involved, well, didn't get involved, but sort of was a distraction at ringside. And then Knight retained his title with the BFT, and a really good one at that. The sequence to get to the finish with Carmelo was really, really good. Carmelo, I think, is going to be an absolute talent as the years go on. I think Carmelo and Montez Ford are made to have one of the greatest matches in the history of wrestling, I think. One day I think it'll happen. We then got Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns in the ring, and Jimmy told Roman that they're no longer the ones and suggested that they needed help to take down the bloodline. Reigns refused that part of the plan, and Jimmy was a bit frustrated, but that definitely came back to haunt him later in the show. So the main event, when we get to there, we then had Kevin Owens crashing the show. He interrupted, cutting a promo to explain his actions at Bad Blood against Cody. Obviously, he attacked Cody Rhodes after Bad Blood finished. This was all over social media, and effectively turned Kevin Owens heel. But his microphone was cut off, and that led to a confrontation between Owens, Rhodes, and then Randy Orton, who came out to get involved as well. He's been tagging over the last couple of months with Kevin Owens, and obviously has history with Cody Rhodes. And in the end, Orton got so frustrated with Owens in the ring that he punched him. So Orton punched KO. So there's a whole three-way sort of feud potentially just bubbling there. So, absolutely more to come. We also then had Bianca and Jade Cargill defending the Women's Tag Team Championships against Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. And this was set up on NXT this week. And if you haven't heard the NXT review for this week, you can listen to that on YouTube. I go live every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. British time, and talk through this week's NXT the morning after it happens, which has been really popular on YouTube so far. You can see that on YouTube at The Burning Truth 251. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe, review, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. But yeah, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeated the tag team from NXT, which, as I said, was set up on NXT last week. And this was even despite interference from Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So Belair and Cargill's offense was just too strong. And they are, unbelievable talents.
Yeah.
And do you know what? They make the rest of the division look really weak because they're so strong together. It's a bit like, they're like the Brock Lesnar's of the women's division.
Yeah.
And as a tag team, I tell you what it's like as a tag team. It's like the Brothers of Destruction or the two-man power trip. No one's getting close to them. Like, it's unreal at the minute, that is.
Eventually, they're going to have something to combat them. Eventually.
Yeah. We then had the segment that did include Rhea Ripley. So we had a non-title match between Naomi and Nia Jax. And why was it a non-title match? Because Naomi was going to get the win. And she did get the win, right? So it was a match where Naomi eventually pinned the women's champion Nia Jax, thanks to a distraction from Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Raquel Rodriguez, obviously to build the match between Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax, champion versus champion, for the Crown Jewel Championship at Crown Jewel. But after the match, Rhea Ripley appeared and took out everyone involved. She was absolutely on a tear. And again, you know, we love this Rhea Ripley action. One of the best talents on TV currently, I would say. So that was Naomi. Obviously, a massive win for Naomi. Well done to her. And hopefully that means she'll get a future title shot.
Should do.
Yeah. Finally, we had Solo Sikoa in the main event defeating Jimmy Uso. And this was the match that harkened back to that earlier promo where Jimmy Uso told Roman Reigns that he needed help. Or they needed help. And the crowd was all over that, actually, in the segment. You know, the crowd were yeeting. Roman was no yeet. But we know it's eventually going to get there. You know, I talked about this 6-7 weeks ago that I wanted Bloodline versus Bloodline at Survivor Series, and it might happen. You know,
if I'm not mistaken, I believe you actually dubbed it Bloodline versus Floodline.
Faux Bloodline, the fake Bloodline, the Floodline. So Solid Sikoa defeated his brother Jimmy with help from the Bloodline. Roman Reigns did attempt to assist Jimmy post-match. The Bloodline laid Reigns out. There was too many of them. It furthered the internal tensions within the family. And let's be fair, it left it really open because Jimmy and Roman were both lying in the ring and Jimmy was looking at Reigns going, "We need help, man. I told you we need help." And that absolutely proved it.
That's one thing I will say with WWE that they always do that's really clever. They know how to subtly cue in a good foreshadow.
Oh, yeah. For a big steaming pile of foreshadowing. Because we're going to get it at some point. Jay is going to come and help the Bloodline. Not the Floodline. The Bloodline. And it's going to be epic. So SmackDown, I suppose, this week set the stage for more drama within the Bloodline feud. Continued the fallout from Bad Blood and started working towards Crown Jewel, which is what we've got next, right? So, all in all, a really, really good week for Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown was probably the better show this week, only because the Bloodline storyline was phenomenal. Yeah. But I think it's time to talk about AEW. But before I do, again, I'm just going to plug this. Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. on our YouTube, The Burning Truth 251. And you can listen to me dissect this week's NXT the morning after it happens at 9 a.m. British time. We talk about... I haven't watched NXT for years, right, since Keith Lee was the champion. Yep. So I'm approaching it as a new fan, as a casual fan turning it on. So I don't know all the names. I'm learning them as you do. And I've started listening and I've started watching it as the show has moved to the CW network. So I'm reviewing it every week. We're having some fun talking about some of the characters. And what I've noticed about NXT over the last few weeks is that you never know who's going to turn up. Yeah. Jey Uso was on NXT this week, you know, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So please join me over there on YouTube for the NXT reviews. But for right now, I think it's time to talk about AEW and WrestleDream.
That we do. But now, let me just get some things straight off the bat. This week, it's going to be a bit of a weird one because we've only got one main show for AEW, as in for TV, and then a pay-per-view. Because Rampage we don't cover, because we know it feels like a filler show.
It's filler, yeah.
And Collision was cancelled for this week for WrestleDream. Now, I'm going to be doing a little bit different with the Dynamite for this week.
Okay.
I'm going to be covering mostly quick results, with the odd occasional exception.
Yeah.
If there is a little bit. So, let's just hit it off.
Let's go.
Hologram defeated Commander. Opening match. Now, for me, there was a segment in this. It looked like a mistake that turned into a bit of a, Bob Ross happy little tree.
Okay.
Because I will say, the high flying from both of them, you've got to give credit to. You've got Commander who's literally walking across the ropes, and then you've got Hologram who jumps up. It looked like, I believe, Hologram was going to springboard towards Commander and attempt to hover on him in midair, but it inadvertently ended up landing into a bit of a Batista bomb.
Oh wow!
From the clash, it's just BAM! It was like.
So do we know who Hologram is?
Myself, at the moment, not yet, but I believe it might be publicly known. You may have to look it up.
Oh, right, okay.
But we could probably
We're just taking him as Hologram.
I'm just taking him as Hologram.
He's not a star that of wrestling's past that I should know.
At the moment, to me...
It's not Kalisto or Sin Cara or anybody like that.
No. Nothing like that. Not to what
I know. It's not a former
of.
WWE star.
Not to what I know of.
Okay, cool.
I believe. Then we moved on to the AEW Women's Title Eliminator match for the number one contender, which
So an eliminator match is?
it's basically just to define who the number one contender is.
Yeah, but what are the rules of the match?
It's not elimination.
Okay.
It's not elimination. You deliver.
It was one full finish.
One full finish.
Okay.
And it was Willow Nightingale defeating Saraya, Nyla Rose, and Jamie Hayter.
So it was a fatal four-way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what was interesting about this, instead of with Jamie Hayter, she was the odds-on favourite. Simply because she's come back, she's been absolutely tearing it up, and she for many people, they feel as though she would be the perfect one to step into the AEW Women's Championship.
She's the heir apparent.
Potentially, yeah. Now, what was interesting is, at the moment, her feud isn't over. At this moment in time.
Okay.
So they sort of had Saraya with her friends pulling Jamie Hayter out of that match. So that's why it was a bit of a nice segue.
Okay.
And then you got Willow Nightingale and Nyla Rose in the ring, which you had Willow Nightingale getting the win over Nyla Rose. Continuing on, we had...
Is that a good win for Willow Nightingale?
Oh, definitely.
Is she the right person?
As a second alternative, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because
We don't think she'll win the championship, though.
I don't think she would be winning it because she was like a former New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women, and the weird thing about it is she actually beat the current one initially for it because I believe it's to be the first one.
Okay.
So it's a bit of an interesting dynamic. So it's almost like to some people they were saying she's leveled up. For me, I think she just sidestepped, did it, sort of a little bit.
Okay.
But it's really strong to see Willow Nightingale getting some credit.
Okay.
So continuing on, Jay White defeated Danny Chuhun. Squash match. We knew it was going to be a squash match. That's what it was. It was just to set that program of Jay White calling out Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
Moving on to the double title match. Really? Should I really care about this?
Go on.
TBS Championship and New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship.
All right, so this is everyone's favourite wrestling flop.
Yeah.
Mercedes Moné.
Mercedes Moné defeating Emi Sakura.
Okay.
Now, what was so weird for me, why did this get set up? Because it just is. It just sort of just... It's Title Tuesday. We're just doing it on this day. Just because it's like a one-off or something. And it just went, there you go, here's a title match. Where's the plan? Where's your planning? This, they're building up the TBS Championship. I feel as though they're putting, at times, more television time on the TBS Championship than the actual AEW Women's Championship. And it's being done in a bit of an awkward way because at the moment you try and say to us, we want you to care for the TBS Championship, but then at the same time, not. Why? Now, for me, Mercedes Moné, did defeat Emi. Okay, at least she didn't do that finisher that she can't always seem to get right. She actually ended with the bank statement or whatever she calls it now. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because I believe everyone knows what it is.
Yep.
Straight after, it looked like she was going to attack Emi for a bit more to have a certain Chris Statlander come down and make the save, which I still find weird because they've had Statlander go from face to heel to face.
Yeah.
It feels like a very big show thing. And then Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta defeated Claudia Castagnoli and Pac. Now, what was interesting about this, I thought this was the potential time for the turn, but it didn't happen.
Whose turn?
Wheeler Yuta's. I thought that was going to happen.
Oh right, okay. So you don't think he's going to stick on Bryan Danielson's side?
Oh, I didn't. But then, as I paused and thought about it, I thought to myself, "Oh no, that's not the perfect time." I then suddenly realised when the perfect time would be.
Oh, at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay. So anecdotally, Dynamite this week had its lowest ever rating.
Yeah.
Of its history.
Yeah.
And it got absolutely mauled by NXT in the ratings because they went head-to-head on the Tuesday night. Now, agreed, Dynamite is normally a Wednesday night show.
Yeah.
And, Dynamite was not in its usual time slot.
Yep.
But, I mean, a couple of years ago, Dynamite was killing NXT on Wednesday nights.
Yep.
and NXT absolutely wiped the floor with Dynamite this week.
Understandable, because what I found annoying about this supposed Title Tuesday, this is the Dynamite before the big event, and for the actual big main event, you've actually only got technically 2 matches, for that, to lead up into WrestleDream. Why?
Just couldn't compete with Randy Orton, could they?
Just why?
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the pay-per-view then.
The pay-per-view, I will...
WrestleDream.
Now, for me, WrestleDream itself was... There's a lot to take here.
AEW always deliver on pay-per-view, from what I'm told.
Yeah.
And did this one deliver?
This one, I feel as though, had plenty of surprises.
Okay.
Now,
We talked about Rico already.
Yeah, we've already talked... The fact that we actually talked about the pre-show is enough for it.
Yeah.
It is, it really is. But the difference is, we're not going to go to the pre-show as much as we want to, even though there was title changes and everything. For
Ring of Honor, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's just talk about the main show.
Yeah, let's just talk about the main show, which is, of course, we opened up with Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, brutal back and forth. But what was so funny about it is Jay White wasn't acting, like a good, good old blue-eyed babyface. It seemed a bit Eddie Guerrero, a bit like Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, right, okay, so it's lying and cheating and stealing.
To a degree, but the difference is, it was almost, he was just giving back what Adam Page given him in the first place.
Yeah.
And just dishing it out back. But the one thing I will say about this opening match, storytelling done right.
Within the match. Yeah.
It was beautifully done. Because it looked like they were going back and forth and everything. And at some point, I believe even the stage got used, the actual entrance ramp.
Oh, okay.
Because Jay White had sort of done like a knee breaker on Adam Page on the edge of the ramp.
Oof.
Which, yeah, as you just said. And then at one point, he goes for the switchblade, counters into Deadeye, which lands you on your knees. So Adam Page is, checking his knee. Yeah. And he's like, I've got to finish this match off. Goes for the buckshot lariat. You can see where this is going, can't you?
Yeah.
As he flips over, knee crumbles, straight into the switchblade.
Oh, bro.
Game over.
So Jay White got the win then?
Oh, yeah.
That surprises me, because Hangman Adam Page has been on a bit of a run.
He has, but I feel as though they might be trying to build up Jay White a little bit now. Because with the time he's been having off, and I believe the fans have been saying, "What are you doing with Jay White? He should be
featured."
And I will say, this actually it wasn't all Adam Page being buried at all. Far from it.
Yeah.
It was a really good back and forth.
Okay.
Now, Mariah May against Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's Championship.
Okay, so Willow Nightingale won the number 1 contender on Dynamite, straight into the match on the Saturday.
Yep. And I will say, this match was quite unique, and I actually enjoyed this match because even though it was such a short build, great match. And it was great. Delivered, back and forth, and one I can definitely be happy to recommend to watch, because it was really back and forth. Then we've got, well, of course, Mariah May successfully defended, and moving on to Jack Perry, defending his AEW TNT Championship against Katsuyori Shibata. Now, for me, this was interesting.
Sounds like Italian bread, Ciabatta. Go on, carry on.
What was interesting is you got Jack Perry doing something very, very stupid, against his opponent, which is the fact that he was trying to outstrike and out-wrestle him.
Ah, okay.
It's not going to work. Because he's doing kicks on him, and he's just looking at him and just going,
"Really?
I thought you could kick me harder than this." And he's like, "You're not helping, Jack. You're not helping yourself."
Ouch.
But he managed to get that sneaky win.
Okay.
Right? Now, what I thought was interesting with this is that, yes, Jack Perry got the win and was going to go for the attack after, was the fact that Daniel Garcia come out and was like, not cool.
So I'm not overly familiar with Daniel Garcia, so give me a bit of history, if you like.
Daniel Garcia, definitely. Now, at the moment, recently, he had some contract recently with, at the moment, dispute. But the difference is he's saying he's staying AEW thorough and thorough. Now, what's so interesting is not many people realise, does anybody recognise PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla?
Okay, yeah.
They've got a world champion there, which is Daniel Garcia.
Okay.
He is, I will say, one of the finest technical wrestlers because he has unique ways of getting into certain submissions. He's even got his own variation of his own variation of a sharpshooter, and it's just weird how he does it. But I will say, brutal.
Okay,
it is brutal how he gets the.
So he's a quality technical wrestler.
Very.
He came out to confront
Jack Perry. Looked like he was about to throw down the gauntlet to challenge for the TNT Championship for MJF's music to hit.
Oh wow! Okay, so here comes MJF.
MJF comes down, shock. Just after you can see the boiling of them two because them pair have been down each other's throats.
Okay.
For Jack Perry to come in, sneak back in with cheap shot, bow straight to the back of the head, and sort of
Daniel Garcia.
On Daniel Garcia, and he almost looks straight at MJF like he's all yours.
Oh wow! Okay, and then Jack Perry disappears.
Yeah.
Okay.
So immediately then you got MJF literally just being scathing on the mic, as he always does.
Yeah.
So they're saying, the last time I wrestled you so easily. Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. But then he implied, he just goes, the last time I wrestled you, I beat you, and you got upset, and while you were upset, I was making moves and making millions. And then reportedly stated to him, he just goes, by the way, thank you very much for informing me of when you sold, my dynamite ring.
Oh, wow, okay.
In Buffalo, because I had to be the smart guy and go hunting for it, and guess what? I got it back.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So he's got it, he's setting it up, he locks it onto his finger, ready to belt him with it. So all of a sudden, boom.
Adam Cole,
baby.
Oh, no way.
Adam Cole come walking out.
So he had an ankle injury, right?
Yeah.
Adam Cole, yeah, but he's back.
Oh yeah, he come walking out. You can see the shocked face
on MJF.
MJF, clean, and he's like, and you see the crowd are literally going nuts. And the weird thing about it is, the last time these two saw each other, roles were switched.
Because Adam Cole was the heel and MJF was the babyface.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
And you got MJF who sort of dropped Adam Cole, sort of. It just looked like he just got rid of him so he could recover. But now he's back. He's gunning for MJF, and it was like he's like, I'm coming for you. Coming for you. You got MJF go, what are you gonna do? You can't even walk. Yeah, don't be saying that.
So he's recovered, is what you're saying?
Recovered? He immediately ran down the aisle and...
Oh, right, okay, so proved it.
Pretty much just started running. You saw MJF go, oh, never mind. Straight out.
Oh, right, so then he powdered out and...
Powdered out, scarpered, literally almost with a yellow streak down his back and everything. And you got, Adam Cole just sitting there just going, I'm coming for you! And indicating, but also at the same time, showed respect to Daniel Garcia, helping him up.
So next time AEW's got a pay-per-view, we should expect to see MJF versus Adam Cole.
Oh, at the very least, a tag team match. They're gonna be clashing. We know that for sure.
What is the next big AEW event?
The next one is Full Gear.
Okay.
Now,
and that's got a bit of space between, hasn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
So we've had quite a few All Out, All In. Then the Title Tuesday,
but it's one of their big uns.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
It's another big one.
So what happened next?
Next, we've got the 3-way for the AEW International Championship.
Oh right, so this was I know this. This is Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita.
Yes.
I won't tell you what my son calls it.
I already know. Cause
he breaks it into a few syllables. Put it that way. 4 syllables in case you're counting at home.
Wow.
4 syllables.
Wow. I will say this. It's hilarious. But I will say.
So what happened in the match?
Anyway, the match itself, back and forth. I will say, for the way that these three work together, wow. And the weird thing about it is they actually told a story. They also used the fact that it's triple threat to their effect, because when it's triple threat, no DQ. So then we've got tables being placed up and everything. And I will say, fair play to them. Fair play. But I will say, you've heard of the old terminology of whoever sets it up normally goes through the table, the old that toolage. They actually broke the tradition.
Oh, right, okay.
Time. Because we got Konosuke, Konosuke setting up the table, Will Ospreay and Ricochet doing their high flying, back and forth. And there were a few segments in this where we got one move going into another and back and forth, and breaking up pins. Although I will say how Ricochet got taken out, yeah, if he somehow kicked out of that, not happening.
So if you were going to recommend a match this week, would that be the match?
That would be a match to recommend, simply because to see Konosuke hit Ricochet with a tombstone pile driver off the edge of the ring, through a table.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
That's one way of taking him out, but then going back and forth. But what was so interesting about this is, just when you thought Will Ospreay was going to get the win, Don Callis gets that little bit of a distraction on the referee, and Konosuke's just out of the picture a little bit. Yes, he has taken the hidden blade multiple times. It looks like he was about to get beaten, but somebody in a mask, a hoodie figure, comes in and nails Will Ospreay with the screwdriver in the back of the head.
Go on.
It's none other than his best friend, Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, no way.
Which led to, straight away, Konosuke becoming the international champion.
Oh, right, okay, so big title change there.
Yeah.
Takeshita. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And what was so interesting about this is immediately after Kyle Fletcher nails Will Ospreay with the Tiger Driver on him.
Unreal.
His own move, so enough said. Enough said. Moving on. This match, I feel as though, just got fitted on for reasons.
Okay, so this was sort of the popcorn match, if you like.
Yeah. Even though it's a popcorn, even though to some it was a popcorn match, still credit to both of them.
Okay, go on.
Hologram versus the Beast Mortus.
What, Canyon?
No, it's Mortus.
Oh, not Mortis.
No, not Mortis, Mortus.
Okay.
Now, what was interesting is the Beast. He's not a small dude.
Okay.
But he can move. He was keeping up with Hologram. Yeah. And I will say, back and forth, and this was a 2 out of 3 falls match. So what was interesting about this, it was back and forth, it went down, it ended up with a 2-1, the Hologram getting the win, and then it was pointed out, clearly, that Hologram's actually on a winning streak.
Oh.
15-0.
Oh, right, okay.
He's 15 straight wins.
Good times.
So
good times if you're Hologram.
Yeah, definitely. Then we're going to quickly move on to Darby Allin versus Brody King.
All right, okay, so classic big man, little man.
Classic big man, little man, but ow, ow, ow.
Darby Allin keeps taking these bumps, man. I really worry that he's going to cut his career short.
Do you think he wasn't the only one taking the bumps on this one?
Oh, right, okay.
Some of the bumps that Brody took, even my back felt it.
Oof.
My back felt it, simply because it looked like we were going to have a bit of a repeat of the sleeper over the ropes and everything. They kept teasing it and teasing it.
Yeah.
And the moment I will say that was brutal is when the steps got brought involved. Because they were teasing something that was going to happen with the steps. But when you got Brody place the steps on top of Darby, you're like, what's he doing there? And then you suddenly realise when he walks around to where the steps are and starts stepping on top of them while they're on him.
Ooh.
It looked nasty. So then immediately after we were still going back and forth. The steps got planted on the side, right?
Yeah.
And immediately at some point it looked like Brody was going to superplex him out the ring onto the steps.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. backfires. Brody gets smacked onto lands on the steps.
Oh.
And he's like, this really sucks. And then he realised, I forgot it could get worse. Coffin drop.
Oh.
BAM! Straight onto him. He gets in, and just as he's about to, they're doing the count, gets to 9. He slides in. As he slides in, second coffin drop.
Ooh.
Immediately as he gets in, rolls, goes to the pin. 1, 2, 3.
Ouch.
So straight away, brilliant. Now the next match, if you were watching it, which was the Young Bucks versus Private Party.
Tag Team Championships.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a lot of teasing in this. And then for me personally, I honestly thought that Private Party were going to take the win.
Really?
For how much they were teasing it. They literally gave him a unique entrance.
You believed?
I believed. I really did, because they give him a unique entrance. You've even got the Young Bucks even cutting a promo, sit there saying, you beat us on the first ever, earlier shows of AEW, but what have you done? What have you done since then?
All right. Okay.
So as you can imagine,
really built it up, layered it in,
sticking the cue cards and everything, and it looks like they're both hitting each other's moves and everything's like, ooh, really getting into it.
Yeah.
Build up, and all of a sudden, Young Bucks take the win.
Oh, okay.
Now at first I thought, why is that happening? But then I realised that you've got Stokely in the crowd, who recently has been trying to say, I want to become your manager, and he got turned down by them. So when he saw them lose, he sat there smirking. Now the question is this so he's going to use that to get to tag to be their manager, or is he trying to split them apart?
Right. Okay. Got you.
So could we be having that sort of segment? So at the moment, Young Bucks still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. And moving on to the next championship, which is the ROH World Championship.
Okay, the ROH World Championship.
Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe, the champion.
Yep.
Yeah. What
was interesting is there's a few segments in this. I will say some of Mark's friends helped out with getting rid of the the individual learning tree, clearing them out.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. Although Big Bill did set up a table outside, against the announce table at an angle.
Oh.
But this I will say was a nice bit of foreshadowing. But I thought it was going to be Bill going through it.
Okay.
And it wasn't. But we'll carry on. As the match went on, we've got Mark Briscoe, who eventually took Jericho outside. He's outside, and I will say, the referee got distracted. The chair was involved. He run. Mark Briscoe jumped onto the chair, jumped onto the ropes, flipped over into Chris Jericho through the table, which sounds nasty, which it was. He throws him in. Looks like he climbs up, goes for that froggy elbow into a mid-air code breaker.
Oh wow!
Boom.
That sounds good.
But you sit there and think, if you were Jericho, you'd go straight for the pin, wouldn't you? Nope. Insult to injury. Picks him up, hits the J Driller Driver.
Wow.
On him. 1, 2, kick out. Immediate rage.
Really?
He just hit him with his brother's finisher.
Yeah.
Immediate rage. Mark comes back, eventually takes him down, hits the froggy elbow. He's not done. Finishes him with the J Driller Driver. 1, 2, 3.
Jericho down.
And moving on to the main event, which is
the main event.
Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson.
And this is the whole story. He's been building up to this. I think you can call it a story.
Oh yeah, definitely. This was back and forth. Bryan didn't even get a chance to even take his jacket off.
Oh wow!
Before the match started, you got it's the final countdown, and then pairs still brawling during the entrance, going back and forth. It was absolutely chaotic. This was. We even got the some cables around Danielson's neck as you pulling it. And Danielson was quick to grab the mic and belt Moxley with it. This is before the bells even rang.
Yeah.
They get in, they're going back and forth. Eventually, all chaos starts to ensue because you've got Maria Sophia getting involved, and eventually we've got the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club getting involved.
But the question is, Matt Burns,
we're getting to it.
Did it happen?
We're getting to it. We're getting to it. And you can see there was a lot of anger and everything at this moment. And they're going back and forth. You know, are we done? And it was just absolute chaos. Now, during the whole chaos, before we get to the actual segment I wanted to cover, eventually, at one point during the match, a sleeper hold was placed in. And we're sitting there thinking, what's going on here? Is this it? Nah, it's not it. But no. Eventually, over time, you can see Brian fading to slowly into darkness to pass out, to decree the new world champion of AEW, Jon Moxley.
What about sleeper hold?
Sleeper hold. Out cold, technically out. But while he was down, this is where we got the Blackpool Combat Club coming in. And we started there thinking, no, this is, you know...
Insult to injury, here we go.
Insult to injury, you've just technically retired him.
If you like,
If you like. And they're about to put the beat down for then Wheeler Yuta to come down.
To make the save?
Make the save with Darby Allin.
Okay.
They Blackpool Combat Club immediately leave the ring. While Darby Allin's giving it the bacon, you see a little switch go off in Yuta to suddenly smack Darby Allin in the back of the head.
Oh, wow, so he did make the turn.
Oh, no. It was it looked like a bit of a turn, but was it set in motion? And Mox giving the orders, hold him up. He's got the bag, and you see him looking to start a smirk, and just go, pass it to Yuta. You do it. Yuta looks a bit conflicted for about a second, smirks, opens the bag up, and just places it over.
And this is why Daniel Bryan's carrier bag is a bag for life.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is security come darting in immediately at this time, and immediately the bag wasn't a full segment. It was like, whoa, this ain't happening again.
Yeah.
But Blackpool Combat Club was taking care of the security. Then we got other individuals like Jeff Jarrett coming down. Double J! Of course, coming down trying to make the save, but they're still fighting them off.
Yeah.
And then the locker room of faces come flying out, which then Blackpool come like, whoa, this is too many. We've got to clear off and quickly, immediately leave. But what was interesting during that segment, when Moxley won the belt, you'd think he'd be carrying it, wouldn't you, over his shoulder, or wearing it. He didn't. He just placed it in a black bag.
Weird.
In a black bag and immediately left. Now, most people were sitting there saying, that was weird. But I've got a little clue what it might be.
Go on.
I feel as though there's going to be a rebranding of the AEW World Championship. And it's going to be as paid for by Shane McMahon.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah.
I really, really like that. And McMahon with the new AEW Championship.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that.
That's just, if that does play out, that is genius.
Can I ask some questions about this show, right?
Yeah.
So the finish to that sounds like, you know, one of my main complaints about AEW is the storytelling. Right?
Yeah.
And that sounds like a really, a bit darker than maybe I would like my kids to watch, for example.
Yeah.
But it's not for kids, right? I've got to remember that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a decent story coming out of AEW currently.
Yeah.
Even if it is only one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell you what my immediate thoughts are on this episode, this pay-per-view, PLE?
Yeah, go for it.
If you like. The amount of matches, right, that we've just had to review.
Yeah.
The reason that we always say, a bit of insider knowledge here, we always say that AEW seems to take forever to review, don't we? When we're talking about the pod.
Yeah.
And the fact is that the reason is there's so much stuff going on, and yet we get very little storytelling normally. But how many matches were on that PLE?
Yeah, from top to bottom, this is including pre-show.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, we get 5 matches on a WWE PLE. Right? How many on just the PLE bit?
9.
It's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of matches. And I just think, when you were going through them, there was a couple that we could have lost off there. The hologram match.
Yeah.
The ROH Championship match didn't need to be on there. I also think there wasn't really much going on in the...
You could give a take on the AEW Women's Championship for the fact of lack of build-up.
Yeah. The Mariah May, Willow Nightingale match. Absolutely. Could have just been a match on Title Tuesday, potentially.
Yes.
I just think there was quite a lot in there that felt like it feels like it's too much for the time allowed, I feel.
For me, I feel as though some of these matches could have been on the Title Tuesday to build up towards the pay-per-view.
And would have increased the, increased or improved the product, improved the show by being on that
Title Tuesday.
Yeah, on that Title Tuesday.
It would have effectively, immediately, I feel as though they could have had, and at the same time, if they had done that, it would have given the actual pay-per-view, the matches, a bit more time to breathe.
For example, if we use last week's WWE, the SmackDown before Bad Blood, we had that 3-way ladder tag team championship match.
Bingo.
If we'd have had the Mariah May, Willow Nightingale match as the main on Dynamite,
especially with it being Title Tuesday,
that could have really made a difference. I think the main event of that sounds really good. I also think the Jay White Hangman Adam Page match and the Darby Allin Brody King matches, they're probably ones that I'll go back and watch.
Definitely.
I may go back and watch the Takeshita Ospreay Ricochet match as well. But it sounds like the PLE, the pay-per-view for AEW, was really, really strong.
Yeah, and it's one I'm definitely going to be rewatching myself.
Yeah, and I think for PLEs, Matt Burns, from now, we should probably give them a rating. So I want you to rate it out of 5 sausages. How many sausages would you give WrestleDream?
A solid 4.
4 sausages for WrestleDream.
4 bangers.
4 bangers for WrestleDream. You heard it here first. Shall we take a break before we do Murder Live?
Murder Live.
Get the shovel.
Get the shovel.
Hello, friends. Are you enjoying the Burning Truth Live so far? Well, I hope you are, because we're working bloody hard to make it as good as we can. But what we need is your help. And we need your help by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. You do not know how much it will help the podcast if you can do that for us. It'll help us spread the word, help us grow the community, and more than anything, it'll help us keep providing amazing wrestling content like we are right now. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. But please, please, please rate and review and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Buried alive, always say goodbye. Things we can't stand not today. Locked and gone in the ground, never to make another sound. It's buried alive.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today for this segment of Buried Alive, which is our wrestling's equivalent to of Room 101.
Yes, so this is our segment where we take an angle, a storyline, or anything from wrestling's past, and we decide whether it should be Buried Alive for all time, never to see the light of day again. And this week, we've had something suggested by one of our listeners via email at info@theburningtruthuk.com, which is very good, and it was very good that I remembered that email off the top of my head. And this week, the Reverse Battle Royal from TNA is our concept that they would like buried alive.
The rage is rising.
The rage is rising. So I'm going to defend this week, Matt Burns. Yeah, true story. And this is my reason why, right? So I'm going to give you my reasons for. Yeah, I think it's a unique concept. Yeah. So I get that it might be rubbish, but it is at least different, and we tried to do something different. We get a lot of complaints about things being too repetitive or boring, and this is a break from tradition. It's something else, yeah? Also, I think it was used to spotlight lower card talent, which I really liked as well when it was done, and loads of crowded action. So in the early stages, so many people fighting outside the ring, it created a bit of a chaotic environment. It was good to watch, I thought, right? It was a bit like watching a car crash.
It was a car crash.
I also think it creates urgency really early on, because it's not like a Royal Rumble where nothing happens for the first 45 minutes and then you can start paying attention because we're near the end now and somebody's going to win. It creates urgency right from the start. it starts fast because you've got to get to the ring, and also instant stakes because the objective is get there before everybody else. It's like a running race instead of a battle royal or a Royal Rumble. And then I suppose the other thing is it's 2 matches in one, which is why I like it because it's a reverse battle royal. Is the first 2 in, then have a match, right? And that's what I like about it is because then you get the match as well. So it's almost 2 in 1.
So why not just book a single match? Just book the single match. Just book the unique singles match.
Well, they're my reasons that I like it.
Nope, not happening. Because what's the way to win the match? Locked doors. Locked doors. Really? Put something in the way of people. Just barricade something. Just what?
Literal banana peels.
Banana peels. Stick thumbtacks down on the floor or something. Something. Oil slicks. Whatever. That's what we are relating to. Looney Tunes. I'm sorry, but no, we're not doing that with this because this is just beyond belief. Are you telling me that if someone like Rikishi is running down the aisle, at top speed, someone's gonna be able to stop him?
You just gotta hope he Titus O'Neil's.
You just gotta pray he's gonna slip and fall underneath the ring. If not, he's running straight through you and diving in that ring regardless of it. Abyss, same person. He could do the same. He can just pretty much just run, stick his arms out. He's taking everybody out. Done. So basically, the only individuals who can win the match are big monsters.
Or people who are really fast.
Or people who are either really, really fast in sprinting, who can probably step on people's heads going...
I don't think you realise what you're doing. You're selling it to me here.
I'm not!
I'm even more interested now.
No! It's not. It's just... Why would there be the concept of you got to rush to the ring to earn a match? You're a wrestler. You've already earned the match. You've already got the contract. You should be getting scheduled for matches. It just feels as though... It just doesn't feel right. All you'd have to do is to stop people from getting in the ring is stick some thumbtacks on the edge of the ring. Now dive in. You just don't. It just doesn't feel right, And the idea being is to get in the ring. And what makes it even more stupid is we had individuals stepping up on these onto the edge of the ring. I made it to get tripped off. Just slide in. Just slide in. Honestly, I feel like I'm about to burst a blood vessel.
Are you okay?
I can breathe.
So I take it you're not a fan of the TNA reverse.
I've already dug the hole.
Okay, I think realistically now, it was a really good idea.
It's a good concept.
The execution wasn't great.
Yeah, the concept of it, and what makes it even worse about it, is the fact that they decided on, at one point, instead of just doing it once, we'll have a tournament.
Yeah, okay. I'll concede. I think you're probably right. I think it was a great concept, but in reality wasn't great when it was actually seen on screen.
No.
So get your shovel, Matt. You can do it.
Yeah, no. I would have got the hole. I would have got the hole ready for it because the second I saw it, I knew. I feel like a bit like a Neil Buchanan. This is what I prepared earlier. So it's going in.
So this week we are burying alive TNA's reverse battle royals.
Stay there.
And that is this week's Bury Alive.
Yeah. I feel better now.
Should we do a top 3?
Do the top 3!
Do you love NXT?
Yeah.
Do you hate that we don't talk about it on the podcast?
Hell yeah, what's up with that?
Well, you can catch all the NXT action live on our YouTube streams every week if you subscribe at The Burning Truth 251 on YouTube and listen to me, Scott, and I'm talking all things NXT every week on a Wednesday. See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top 3. Although I feel like as though we've already done this already. Oh wait, so you already know the rules, so we don't need to break it down. So Scott, shall we move on straight away?
Let's do the top 3.
Let's do the top 3, which is, for this week, I would like to see or hear your top 3 Royal Rumble wins.
Ooh, okay. Thinking. Ooh, yeah. I got it.
Go.
Right, I got it. So, number 3. And he's going to appear twice on this list.
Ooh.
Number 3 is, and it's, my top 3 probably won't be your top 3, and that's because I've got very specific things that I like in Royal Rumble wins. My number 3 is Triple H for the WWE Championship in 2016. So this was when Roman Reigns was the champion. It was 1 versus all for the championship. He was going against Vince McMahon at the time, Roman Reigns was, and the Authority, if you like. Mm-hmm. And Triple H entered the match as a surprise. So he was the COO at the time, and he was sort of an authority figure, head of the Authority. And he eliminated... he entered at number 30, Triple H did, and then he eliminated Roman Reigns next to last. So Roman Reigns, who was the champion, didn't even get to the final 2. It was actually then Triple H and Dean Ambrose that were the final 2.
Oh.
And it was a really good finish, and Triple H won because we got the whole thing of, oh my God, we're going to get a new champion. As soon as Roman Reigns goes out, we're going to get a new champion, and everybody perked up. I was interested anyway because it was for the WWE title. Roman Reigns had been in it all the way through. As soon as he got eliminated, it was like, oh my God, we're getting a new champion, right? And then Triple H eliminates Dean Ambrose and becomes the WWE champion. Was definitely not on my bingo card going into that Royal Rumble. Really, really clever storytelling, because then the main event we got at WrestleMania was Triple H versus Roman Reigns, and it might not have been the match that everybody wanted because this was the time when Roman was sort of being pushed down everyone's throats, but it was very, very clever.
It was clever, but at the same time, it might not have been the match that you wanted. It was the match that you needed.
Yeah, and I think when you look back at that WrestleMania and you look back at that Royal Rumble, I think they actually, on rewatch, are really, really good. So well worth a rewatch. 2016's Royal Rumble. Number 2 is on the list again. It's Triple H again.
Huh?
Triple H again. In 2002, this is after his big return. I am the game. And you actually rebooked the post WrestleMania title run of Triple H, didn't you?
Yes.
But the 2002 Royal Rumble, where he eliminated Kurt Angle as the last man and won the Royal Rumble, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then the whole run up to WrestleMania was good. WrestleMania 18, it probably shouldn't have been the main event on the card because we had Rock Hogan, but in terms of the Royal Rumble, Triple H won, Kurt Angle eliminated last, was everything it needed to be. So that's my number 2. And my number 1 will shock you, Matt Burns, but it's a first ever, right? Mm-hmm. My number 1 Royal Rumble winner, or Royal Rumble win, was Asuka in 2018. And it was the first women's Royal Rumble, right? And there was a lot of intrigue, women's Royal Rumble, what's it going to be like? And the aftermath, Ronda Rousey debuted, and Charlotte was in the ring, and I think Alexa Bliss was the Raw Women's Champion at the time. But Asuka winning felt right. She was still undefeated after a massive NXT reign. And she came up to the main roster, and it was just absolutely phenomenal.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe the actual final 2 was Asuka and Rhea Ripley.
Potentially, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. And it was no, it might not have been. It might even be Charlotte Flair. I know...
No, Charlotte Flair was the champion at the time.
Ah, right, well, she's the champion at the time. Now, I know, I believe it was to do with a certain kick, because they were balancing on the edge. I think, actually, my mistake, it was Rhea Ripley. It was. And it was a great match. Awesome. So, straight away, automatically,
No, it wasn't. It was, I'll tell you it was, because I've remembered it now. It was Nikki Bella was the final 2 with her.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Nikki Bella, yeah.
I thought it was.
But
really.
even so, that win was, for me, it was an absolute moment. And they may not have capitalised on Asuka as the main focal point of the women's division. We had Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, etc., all really peaking at the same time. But Asuka, to win that first one, it felt right at the time, and that's why it's my number 1.
Yeah.
Because for a first women's Royal Rumble, she was absolutely the right person.
Oh, definitely. Who's ready for Asuka?
No one ready for Asuka.
Enough said.
And that is my top 3.
Top 3. Phenomenal. So, Triple H in step 3, Triple H in step 2, and then Asuka in step 1.
And that's my top 3 Royal Rumble wins.
Awesome. So, could you do me a favour?
What's that, mate?
Could you just pass me the pen and pad?
Passing you the pen and pad.
Thank you very much.
It's time for Reboot This.
Hey everyone, Matt Burns here. Just thought I'd just do a bit of a quick plug for a local wrestling show, which will be for PWE, Premium Wrestling Entertainment, for this Saturday, 19th of October, in Kings Winford, which will be titled I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost, which I highly recommend you do check out, but as this is just a cheap plug, that is all I'm going to be stating for now, so please check it out, and we'll now return you back to your regular scheduled programming.
Who trusted these guys with the book? It's rebook this. Louder strong, it's rebook this. Take a shot, it's rebook this. Rebook this.
Right, it's time for Rebook This, and I'm sure you're all familiar with how this works. We see loads of people do it over time, but right now it is Matt Burns' turn to rebook something from wrestling's past, something that we think could be done better. And last week I gave Matt Burns the challenge. We mentioned it earlier in the show, and I'm sure you're all dying with anticipation. But Matt Burns, this week you are rebooking Sting's AEW retirement. How can you do that better? Go.
Now, for me, straight off, the first thing I will say, it was great that we got Darby Allin tagging with Sting, but how do we make that better? Because bear in mind that on the actual final match, he had his sons there.
Okay.
So why didn't you know? Because I believe that one of them is now currently training to become a wrestler.
Correct.
So could they have started the training a bit early for
I think so, definitely.
the son, and then eventually had him interjected somehow instead of come on, Sting and his son, straight away. But instead of it being for the actual tag, AEW Tag Team Championship, now the choice is I need to pick out: do we do the old traditional way with Sting, or do we go down a different, unique way?
Okay.
Now, for me, most people would sit there and say, why don't we go down the tradition and have Sting passing on the torch and doing all that and everything? We're not going to do that because I feel as though tradition does work to some degree. This is Sting. He is one of the icons. There is some, exceptions to the rules.
He's given enough back over the years.
Yes. But I feel as though we can still keep half the tradition, but also change a little bit. Because I feel as though what the final match should have been is Sting tagging with his son, with one of his sons, against a tag team. Could it be for the AEW World Tag Team Championships? Potentially. But I would have actually had the AEW World Tag Team Championships elsewhere on another team, but still would have fitted in the Young Bucks against them. But now for me, what I would have done in that sort of match, I would have had Sting slowly getting beaten down by the Young Bucks, for then Sting to tag in his son for the hot tag, and then eventually start building up, and then when it comes to the big crescendo, having his son get the win, but by making sure that his son, when this is happening, Sting's going out on the match. It's his last match, but make this Sting's son's debut match.
Oh, so Sting's last match, but his son's first match.
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
I had a feeling you might like that.
A lot.
Yeah. So yes, he's not going out on his back like the traditional way, but it's still a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
And it could even be using one of his dad's moves to get the finish as well.
Sharpshooter or something.
Straight away the Scorpion Deathlock, lock it in, tap out, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of see them both doing the Scorpion Deathlock at the same time.
I thought about doing that at one point, but then because of time working on Sting, having Sting's not be as effective as much as he is the master of it, sort of they break out because time does make make us all withered eventually. But then when his son locks it in by himself, clean in the middle of the ring, boom, gets the tap.
I like that a lot.
You can.
I still wouldn't have had him against the Young Bucks, but I can see why you kept the story the same.
Yeah, because I felt as though it was because of the disrespect I felt as though that had the right nice build to it.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Tell us what you thought in the comments. If you're on Spotify or Spreaker or anywhere else that you can leave comments, on YouTube maybe. Otherwise, you can send us an email, info@theburningtruthuk.com, and you can tell us what you thought of Matt Burns' Rebook This. Absolutely fantastic, guys. What did you think? I thought I would give your rebook this 4 out of 5 sausages, I think, Matt Baines.
Love it.
You'll take 4 out of 5 bangers.
Definitely.
Fantastic.
I'm happy with that. And that was Rebook This. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of The Burning Truth Live. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you had as much fun listening as we had recording.
If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, and on Facebook at The Burning Truth. You can also listen to us and all our episodes and our NXT live reactions on the YouTube at The Burning Truth 251. And if you've got any questions or ideas, you can drop us an email at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps spread the word, and it's brilliant for the algorithm. And check out our website, theburningtruthuk.com, for more updates.
And of course, as always, until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying the wrestling, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Burning Truth Live!
Excelsior!
Psst, it's Scott. Did you rate and review the podcast yet? Cheers.